This morning, as you are aware, we received the binding arbitration report from the arbitration panel. And before I get into some of the information, I want to share my appreciation to the panel for their dedication and professionalism throughout this incredibly important matter. The arbitration panel provided in their decision that teachers will receive a salary increase of 9% over 3 years, and that an article on classroom complexity would be included in the provincial collective bargaining agreement. This is a historic decision for Saskatchewan students, teachers, and for the future of public education. For 10 years, teachers have brought forward proposals to address the challenges that they experience in schools and classrooms. And throughout those 10 years, the Government Trustee Bargaining Committee have refused to engage in the process, as it was argued that items related to classroom complexity were not a required item for provincial negotiations. We now have a clear direction from our panel that classroom complexity not only can be within the scope of provincial bargaining, but it will be within the scope of our provincial collective agreement. We're reviewing and analyzing the decision of the panel and will be providing more detailed information to our members in the coming days. I want to express my thanks to everyone who has supported this process over the last 2 years. Parents and students, teachers and other education workers, business owners, and members of the public who may be directly or indirectly connected to public education sent a message that public education and supporting all of our students and their unique needs must be a priority in Saskatchewan. Today, we took our first step forward in ensuring that schools and classrooms across the province have improved learning conditions for students and working conditions for teachers. So thank you so much for joining us here this morning. I'm happy to answer any questions that you may have. Andrew.
Hey, have you guys been in contact with the province since this news came out?
No, as we just received the report this morning. So we haven't had an opportunity to speak with government directly, or I haven't had an opportunity to speak with the minister directly, but we'll be reaching out and happy to have any conversations looking to collaborate and ensuring that the decision is implemented as soon as possible.
And this has been obviously a long journey for you guys. You mentioned like 2 years in terms of, trying to negotiate this contract. How are you feeling today with this news coming out?
I'm feeling incredibly excited. I know this has been something that teachers have been working towards, as I said, for the last 10 years, but specifically this round of negotiations has been an extended period of time in 2 years. I know that this is, as I said, a first step, but I'm looking forward to seeing how the article on classroom complexity provides improved conditions for students and teachers as we look to improve our public education system in Saskatchewan. Keenan?
Hi, Samantha.
Hi.
Could you just sort of outline maybe the next steps for me? It looks like there's still some maybe work that needs to be done to kind of finalize the contractual language, if I have that correctly.
Yeah, there's always a little bit of operational work that happens even after the negotiations process where both the parties sit down and work out that actual contractual language that will go into the agreement. So there's a little bit of work that will still be done, and where, as we always have been, we're committed to working with the GTBC and ensuring that it's the right language that's included within the agreement, but also doing that as quick as possible so that this agreement can be implemented and start to see improvements within our schools soon.
And then just so that I'm crystal clear, I guess, on what happens if the other side doesn't agree to this. In the news release, it says that it'll be referred back to the arbitration board. Just if you could please just sort of outline exactly what would happen if the stalemate, I guess, on this issue continued.
So as I said, we're expecting the GTBC to work with us collaboratively on the contract language. It's not looking at any of the substance, so that's not up for debate at this point. The arbitration decision is pretty clear that it is just looking at that contractual language. If either party can't agree or both parties can't mutually agree, it does get referred back to the arbitration panel and they'll determine what that language looks like. But I'm hopeful that both parties, we can come back to the table and work together to ensure that it's the best language for students, teachers, as well as school boards and government. Okay. Stephen?
So just so that I can be clear here, so this is with the this would be going through until August 31, 2026, but then you guys could be starting the process all over again. What are your thoughts there, that even though it's taken so long that you're already right up against the next timeline for negotiating?
Yeah, it is unfortunate that we have just 1 year left remaining of this contract. It would have been nice if the negotiations process had been resolved a little bit earlier. At the same time, as I said, the article around classroom complexity provides us a clear direction that it can be negotiated. And it also means that this is that first step. And we'll be talking with teachers to look at what may be future steps that are brought forward in future rounds of negotiations. So looking forward to, again, seeing how the article that's going to be put into our current agreement starts to impact and improve the experiences of students and teachers. And then again, we'll look to the future to work together with government and school boards to find ways to improve the experiences further for all of our students and ensure that everyone's unique needs are being met in our schools and our public education system. Scott?
Right now.
Hi, Samantha, can you hear me?
Hold on.
I can, yeah.
When it comes to classroom complexity,
Stuff.
that's been
Well,
on teachers' minds for a number of years now. Do you have any concrete plans of what you want to implement?
Hold it alive forever.
Well, the article that will be included does contain language around additional teachers within schools that will provide support for unique student needs and students requiring additional supports, as well as classroom complexity fund that will provide more broader support around professional supports that are needed within different local contexts. As well as provide support for some smaller schools and smaller rural areas potentially. In terms of what we're looking at further than that, as I said, we're going to continue to work with government. They did make commitments through their throne speech around providing supports for some specific areas, looking at, say, K-3 reading supports. We'll continue to work with government in those areas as well to ensure that all students are getting the best possible education. And in terms of the K-3 reading, that we're setting those young students up for success as they're moving through the pre-K-12 education system in Saskatchewan.
What kind of feedback have you had this early on in this morning from teachers on the deal, specifically on compensation?
So from what I've heard from teachers, and as you noted, it is pretty early in terms of that response, recognizing that when we have this decision from the arbitration panel, it doesn't fully make teachers whole in comparison to where they were back in, say, 2017. We're still falling behind where we were in terms of purchasing power. As well, when we compare to other professions in Saskatchewan or just other workers, teachers are still lagging in comparison to others within Saskatchewan. But again, like I said, what I've heard mostly from teachers is looking at that classroom complexity piece and how it has been so important for teachers to have their working conditions addressed and start to see better support for their students in their schools. So that's been the majority of the feedback, looking at this historic decision, recognizing that teachers' working conditions will be within the provincial contract and will have a way of ensuring that those supports improve looking forward.
Thank you.
Thanks. Andrew?
This announcement today, it specifically uses, the word class complexion. You guys have also been trying to get discussion on class sizes as well over the last 2 years. Have you guys been given any direction on that or where that might stand? Is that something that's included in this?
Well, when we talk about classroom complexity, it does take into account a couple of pieces. It looks at the size of the classroom, impacts the complexity of the class and the complexity of our work, but as well, it looks at the unique student needs. So while there's nothing within the decision of the arbitration panel to provide any direction around class size, we're really pleased to see that there will be an article looking at supporting students and supporting student needs. It doesn't prevent school divisions from and government from providing additional resources and ensuring that classroom sizes are a reasonable size and that teachers aren't teaching too many curricula, for example. And we would expect that with the commitments that we've seen in the throne speech and government's recognition that public education is a priority and we need to see a renewed investment, hoping that this decision provides us with that change of course that I've been talking about over the last couple of years. And we start to see those improvements through the provincial budget and then again through decisions from local school boards.
Awesome. Thank you.
Thank you. Edith?
Hi, Edith for CBC French, Radio-Canada. Just wondering if the fact that it will be added to the collective agreement this time, is it a guarantee that next time it will also be in the collective agreement and for all the collective agreement coming forward?
Yes, so once an article is introduced into the provincial collective agreement, it would have to be mutually agreed upon to remove something as an article. So absolutely, a collective agreement or an article on classroom complexity within the collective agreement will remain in the collective agreement unless it were mutually negotiated to have it removed. And I'm pretty confident in saying that teachers aren't going to be negotiating to remove this. We're very excited that it's going to be included and that we're going to start to see some improved supports in schools in a way that we can ensure that they are there year after year.
And follow up, looking like there's only 1 year left to that convention, was it a strategy to kind of let go of the salaries expectation because it's just going to be there for a year? And are you fighting and will you fight more for that point in the next one?
No, we took both items to arbitration. We presented equally on both of those articles, whether it were provisions around salary or provisions around classroom complexity. Both of those are a priority for teachers here in Saskatchewan. We are very happy with the reward the decision that was brought forward around classroom complexity and recognize that typically in arbitration, when you have such a historic decision on one item, that maybe it might be a bit of a give and take between the other item. When we're looking forward to next contract negotiations and the next round, again, we'll go through that fulsome process that we had within this round, talking to teachers across the province, looking at what are their priorities and what needs to be addressed. So we don't have anything specific at this point of what we're looking at within the next round, but we'll go through that consultation process with teachers to determine what needs to be brought forward for proposals as a priority.
Thank you.
Thank you. And then, sorry, I just noticed as well, there was a question in the chat. Is this the last part of the bargaining to be agreed upon? Is everything else finalized? So yes, we had all of the other items aside from teacher salary and classroom complexity, which were the two items going to arbitration. Everything else had been previously agreed to. So aside from determining that specific contract language within classroom complexity article, everything else is agreed to. So we're hoping that we can have the contract implemented as soon as possible and so that students can start seeing those improved experiences and improved supports within their schools and their school divisions as soon as possible.